speculate that they chose not to use them just in case they end up shooting somebody like this. Then they can just grab a nearby object and say that the guy was holding it and he refused to drop it. Then, when it gets to court, they walk in wearing their uniforms and their fancy hats, and they hope that the jurors will take their word over the victim's word. This is yet another example of a completely unnecessary shooting of an innocent, unarmed citizen by our government. For those of you with the thin blue line stickers and all the pro-Constitution stickers at the same time, this is your government. This is who they will send to come to your house to confiscate your guns when the time comes. This is how they'll treat you as well. Then, after your government shoots you, what do they do next? Well, if you survive, guess what? They charge you with a crime to cover up their exposure to a civil lawsuit. And that's exactly what they've done to Darius here. They've charged him with a felony for allegedly attempting to harm this poor, vulnerable SWAT team with a ball-peen hammer. And he was so successful at it that no officer were injured, and to the contrary, the perpetrator was shot multiple times, including 2 rounds to the chest. Why did they do this? Because any subsequent civil rights lawsuit is going to be bound by any factual findings contained in the underlying criminal case. If they convict Darius of attempting to hit a police officer with a hammer in the state criminal case, that fact will have to be taken as true by the federal court in a subsequent civil lawsuit, so it would tie our hands. Yes, that's right, citizens of McDowell County, West Virginia, your local criminal justice system is running defense for the state police so they don't lose a civil lawsuit and have to compensate a poor innocent person.
Hello, it's March 2023. I just wanted to do a real quick video, something that I mentioned a few years ago in a video, and it has come up actually in one of the overlays that I've used with regards to the cost of prosecuting someone. And I just want to reiterate how the city of Calgary would have spent probably at least $1 million, if not more, to wrongfully convict me. I just want you to think about this for a second. The city of Calgary had to pay for it all. They're paying for the salaries and the resources, whatever. Things probably I don't even know what was going on behind the scenes. But I want to highlight something here. That money comes from taxpayers, the taxpayers of the city of Calgary. Now, it's assumed by, for example, people anywhere, in any city, that the money's being well spent. For example, prosecuting real guilty people. And I've highlighted how over the years since my story began, well, really it began in 2012, but 2013 is where the courts became involved. And how over those years, so many cases of guilty people. And I've highlighted, for example, there was a case where a guy had ran over an elderly couple and ran into a police cruiser and the whole 9 yards, and his case got thrown out. And the city of Calgary paid him $750,000 as a settlement. This guy was guilty, hands down. This case got thrown out, and the city paid him $750,000. And there's a lot of cases like that. And there's a lot of cases, for example, where the police in that city have shot and killed people. And Anthony Hofferman, I believe his name is, comes to mind. His family called, for some reason, the police to do a wellness check on him. And I think they thought that he might be suicidal or something. He was at a hotel. And they ended up shooting him, killing him. And there was no wrong found with what they did. Tons of stories like that. There's even this story where the police had knocked over a guy in a wheelchair and ended up kicking him in the face. So this is all taxpayers' money from the people of the city of Calgary who pay taxes, assuming that the money is being used for something good, something that would benefit society. They're paying out people who have committed acts, life-threatening acts, real acts of crime, and then spending $1 million, maybe even $2 million, for example, with my case, to wrongfully convict me. Now, I got a preface here. There was some interest to totally destroy me, to discredit me. You got to put that aside, and whatever other agendas from individuals who were just, I don't know, abusing their authority because I ticked them off or whatever. It's all taxpayers' money that was being used to destroy me. Let's put aside agendas and all this other stuff. They had the opportunity in the beginning saying, yeah, okay, we really messed up, so, just withdraw the charges, and here's some settlement money. So you sign a non-disclosure agreement, usually that accompanies something like that, so you can't talk about it, and everything would have just gone away quickly, quietly, and no one's lives would have been impacted, especially my life. But that never happens. These people in these various positions of authority, and I'm specifically focusing on Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's not their money. They have a budget, from the taxpayers, so they have endless money. And whether they take something personal or there's an agenda, whatever, they're not on the hook for anything. And it's these kind of scenarios, these positions, that allow people to do atrocities and say, just wipe their hands and say, oh, no, at the end of the day, I go home, be with family, friends, whatever, and live their life, and say, hey, no, I was at work. This is my home life, and there's a disconnect. How different would things be if people like this, in the city of Calgary, for example, were personally on the hook? And this applies anywhere in the world, on any topic, any type of governing body. But they're not on the hook. And that's why I've said, when people say, oh, we have them scared because, whatever, they're free man on the land arguments or whatever. And like, these people are not scared. They go to work, they do whatever they want, and then they leave with no repercussions. So they're not personally on the hook. Now, in my case, People have lost their careers, demoted, whatever. A lot of other careers compromised. But at the end of the day, I doubt any of these people have suffered as much as I have at the hands of injustice, which again began with my trying to help these women, these vulnerable women, from being sexually abused, trafficked, whatever you want to call that. And then when I got dragged into it personally, now, however that started is not the point. I got dragged into it personally, and then a huge campaign to destroy me. And if I didn't do what I did, the female auto recording and everything else, and I never dreamt that I'd be using that, for example, to defend myself. I was trying to gather evidence of what was going on, or not trying to, I did, but here I am. The people of Calgary paid to have me wrongfully convicted and destroy my life. They also paid for people like that guy who ran over an elderly couple and rammed the police cruiser and everything else with a stolen vehicle and whatever the crimes that surrounded that. They paid for him to have his case thrown out and a settlement of $750,000. And my whole situation could have ended signing some documents and everyone's life continued on as it was, but no. That kind of injustice is everywhere, and the same type of thing, taxpayers pay for it. So when people anywhere complain, oh, look at all this injustice, well, yeah, and it's your taxes that are funding it. And there's a lot of stories out there of injustice. Daniel Holtzclaw, Stephen Avery come to mind. Christine's family with her children being taken come to mind. All taxpayers' money being used to commit injustice. Something to think about. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
I think a lot of them are just stone cold, there's no emotion, and they don't view people as people anymore. And you almost feel like you're literally living in a Twilight Zone, and you feel like you're the only sane one in a bunch of insane people. And it's up to the point where I'm afraid that I'm going to start thinking that this is normal. I don't want to ever get to that point.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, when is it going to get easier? When you die.